Live rounds. The marksmen have arrived.
You're watching live rounds with Doug and Steven and being introduced to you by the real IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Will Ospreay.
What's up, everybody? It is Live Rounds episode 100. We have made it. It has been a crazy ride, a crazy journey. Honestly, it was just something that I planned on doing during the pandemic, and it's just kind of become a thing that everybody's enjoyed, and we've all definitely enjoyed, you know, kind of forming this this group fan base that follows the show. And I mean, really, it's a way that me and Steven have been able to just be friends, right? Like, we're just having conversations. We don't really talk a lot outside of this. So whenever we're talking, we're just kind of catching up, talking about what happened over the week. And then you guys all join in for the conversation with us. So I can't thank you guys enough.
The action figures. Me and Doug are constantly talking about action figures with one another, but
yes,
hardly ever like
definitely.
our opinions on wrestling. So that's like
never.
Yeah.
Never. Not like, man, what'd you think of that match? Or no, nothing like that. It's
like, you saw this on this website. It just dropped. Okay, send me the link. Like, that's
exactly. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Target has a sale this week. Just letting you know. You know,
right. It's a lot of action fig hunting. Exactly.
So definitely appreciate it, guys. It's gonna be a different show tonight. Like I said, if anybody wants to actually be on the show, say so in the chat. Message me on Twitter, whatever, and I should be able to send you out a link, and I'll bring you on the show. Steven won't be here very long. He's just going to be here probably for about 20 minutes. We're just going to go over some things real quick, and then I'm going to take it from here. He's just got a crazy work schedule right now, and it's just not really feasible. Honestly, we didn't know if we were even going to be able to do this show because but the biggest thing is we didn't want to prolong episode 100. So because of Steven's
episode 100 without me here, I mean, like,
yes,
I told Doug, like, you know, if you need to do it, but he was like, let's wait till you're available. Even though I can't be here long tonight, I wanted at the very least to be able to tell y'all, you know, thank you very much for the 100 episodes. Like, we do appreciate y'all coming in here and chatting with us, or even if you're not in the chat, just like watching, you know. I won't be here long tonight, and I may have to take a short break from the show going forward, but like, we're getting that figured out. It all has to do with my work schedule. We'll figure that out as we go. But I'm not like leaving forever. It's not something like that. But Doug's gonna hold it down. And we figured with it being 100 episodes, anyways, like we do something special for y'all. Where I know that you guys have been enjoying after I sign off, when Doug's been doing all these Q&As with y'all, and we wanted to give y'all an opportunity tonight, since I had to take a short night anyways, that y'all can come on once I jump off in about 15 minutes or so. Y'all can start actually coming on screen if you want and talking to Doug, asking questions and stuff. Or, you know, he'll answer a ton of stuff from the chat tonight, and I'll keep an eye on it as well. So thank y'all very much for the episodes. And like I said, I'm not going to go away forever. It's just figuring stuff out for like the short term, and then it'll make the long term better. Y'all know what I mean? So.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully the Vikings are winning too. So, you know.
Listen, I don't know what to say about my team, though. I'll tell you that right now. Like, things are going pretty well right now. I don't know.
Great defense.
I didn't know when we drafted Micah Parsons that we might have just drafted the Super Bowl. Like, I didn't know that, but
Incredible.
like that guy's a demon, man. Like, he's insane. My defense is so good right now. Like, it is. And it's so weird, too, because, like, just like 5 years ago, we were one of the worst defenses in the league, and we had been one of the worst defenses for so long. Like, maybe we'd reach, like, 10 to 12 to 15, but never like that. Like, we are, like, good luck throwing the ball. Like, right now, 2 games, 10 sacks, 7 turnovers. You know what I mean? Like, just on fire. So
I was the first person in my fantasy league to draft the defense, and I took the Cowboys D. So I'm very happy I did. They are killing it. I wish I would have taken Micah as well. Like, I thought about that. I want to take Daniil Hunter, who also is, he put up like 12.5 fantasy points this past week for me, which is insane. But yeah, Micah's the man. That whole defense, dude. Like, I mean,
Yep.
all across the board. Like, I'd be happy if I were you, also, man. It's looking good. My Vikings are losing these close games. It just is what it is, you know.
So what's going to be crazy is your Vikings have the Chargers next week, and you're both 0-2. And like, I feel like that coach for the Chargers is on the hot seat. Like, if he loses again, I think he could get fired. So that is going to be a crazy game full of offense too, because both teams light up the scoreboard, but they just have trouble closing out games. So it'll be very interesting.
I know we just the Vikings just signed Dalton Reisner, who should protect Kirk, hopefully. Like that's like the whole thing is like, I don't understand. Like, the Viking, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about football because I want to get into the wrestling talk, but like, the Vikings just need to protect Kirk Cousins. That's really at the end of the day, protect him. Our defense is looking better than it was last year. Still not great, but it's better than it was last year. And unfortunately, Alexander Madison is not Dalvin Cook, although Dalvin Cook has not looked good either. So like, I mean, the Vikings kind of were right about, it's like the Vikings were right about letting Dalvin off like the way
just
that we
wrong
did.
About the replacement.
But like we got tricked though, because like because Madison was here for the last like 4 seasons backing up Dalvin and played really well when Dalvin would be injured or be like third down and everything. But what it really seems like is, for the most part, Dalvin was just working down the defenses and he was coming in and scooping up kind of the garbage. Now it's only been 2 games, but there's a guy, Ty Hilton, is that his name? Ty Chandler, maybe. There's a guy we drafted. He's a running back.
The running back? Yeah. I think his name's Tyson.
Yeah, he's gotten a little bit of playing time so far, and he's done better than Madison. So I don't know. They got to figure that out. Justin Jefferson's great, and it was really great seeing Adam Thielen have a good game last night. I was really happy to see that.
Real quick on a football question. If Justin Jefferson were to get injured and be out for the year, would you be up for trading Kirk Cousins and tanking for the number 1 quarterback?
That's a tough question, because I have to assume Kirk's leaving either way, and I don't know what's going to happen with JJ yet, because he didn't do the extension. I don't know how that looks if it like after an injury with an extension. That probably changes some stuff. I don't know. That's really hypothetical because it'd be an injury to JJ specifically.
Well, so like a lot of people just want the Cousins to go to the Jets or something like that, to where they could get like a quarterback. And I just feel like if the Minnesota had lost, like let's say they go 0-3 and then Justin Jefferson gets injured, I just think that you might be better off trading him away, getting massive picks, and then going in and getting the best quarterback in the draft. You could get Deion's kid. You could get Caleb Williams. Like, there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming in. So something to think about.
And I don't know how much JJ is like. He's said, and I think he's just saying this to be like a team guy, but he's saying that he wants to stay with Kirk wherever he goes. Like, or like, you know what I mean? He's being loyal to Kirk, which part of me thinks is just, once again, him just being like a good teammate. But part of me is also like, he didn't sign the extension, and like Kirk's going to test free agency at the end of this year either way.
Did you hear what he said? He said, when it comes to negotiations, I know that I'm different. So like he's expecting, so he's expecting to like really set the market.
Just got like the highest ever, and the Bengals quarterback,
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. I was about to say, I kept wanting to say
the 0-2 Joe Burrow.
Yeah, the 0-2 Joe Burrow. After those, I'm sure Jefferson saw that and was like, I want to be the highest paid wide receiver ever, and I don't blame him. We should pay him. We should give him that money. It's just going to be at the expense of like who we're going to lose in the process during that. But I think we need to do what we can to keep him. We learned our lesson when we let Randy Moss go for like no reason. So
for sure. All right, man. So I guess we'll go with, let's start with Jade. How surprised were you when you found out that she was leaving AEW and going to the WWE? And do you think it's a good move for her in the WWE and all that jazz?
Not surprised. Think it's a great move. She'll be a way bigger star there.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been saying for a while that I thought that she would be one of the people that like could potentially make the jump, especially with the relationship with Cody. Like, I mean, we've talked about that a lot over like the years that we've been doing this. Like, Cody is going to be, a link there for a lot of people. Like, I mean, there's not going to be everybody. Not everyone that leaves or has like negotiation with AEW is going to just jump to the WWE. But I think Cody's going to give people like legitimate. At least he said that he's going to give people legitimate. Advice and stuff of like where he thinks that they would fit and wouldn't fit and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine Jade probably talked to Cody and Cody's probably like, yeah, they love you. They love your look. You're not going to have to learn a whole lot of like what we need to do in the ring here. You go to the performance center for a minute, they'll tell you kind of what we need you to do. And she'll keep getting better. She has a lot. I still think she has a lot of improving she can do, obviously. But in the WWE, I think that she'll be treated really well. It'll be sink or swim though. Like it won't be. I don't think it'll be like a long project. Like in AEW, the goal was clearly for her to be the TBS champion, like eventually become like the face of like the whole women's division and the world champion and stuff. But similar to Cody leaving AEW, I think Tony probably just assumed he was going to have Jade longer. So. Yeah,
that's my thing is like they really protected her, and it just seemed like to me all they did was just build WWE a star.
Right.
Like that seems very odd to me because in the way that she was talking just like a couple weeks prior, like I want to be with Tony, he's the best. I could text him at 3 a.m. if I need to, blah blah. And it's like she's leaving, like but and then also like to do her final match at Rampage and just job her out clean, like it just seems like it was like. She was supposed to stay and then something happened. Kind of like the Cody thing, honestly. Like it's kind of the same type of deal where it's like it felt like all signs were pointing towards her staying and then she's leaving. I have a couple of thoughts here. One, I think that if she goes straight to the main roster like it's rumored, it's just an acknowledgement by WWE that AEW is for real because you're not going to take an indie person and you're going to put them on the main roster, but you're going to take someone that's been already on TV for a while that has a look and a fan base, and you're going to steal that all and put it on your program. That's what a lot of people did back in the day at WCW, WWF. This is no different. And so if they continue that path, then I think it definitely shows that they view AEW as not a threat, but definitely like respectable competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two, I'm a little concerned because I feel like, first of all, I feel like AEW is in a really tough spot right now. Like ticket sales are bad. The game bombed. The CM Punk issues. There's just a lot of stuff that has happened that like there's not a ton of momentum for them. And now with Endeavor, TKO, I just feel like that they might have that Dana White, I want to crush the competition mentality about to start. And to me, there's a lot of free agents coming up. There's a lot of things that are about to happen. And also, I think that Dana kept his friendship with Tony Khan for a reason because he was trying to get inside information because he knew he was about to get into this WWE business. And I kind of feel like that they are willing to really, because do you find it a coincidence that the day, like the week of the merger, The Rock shows back up into WWE? Like,
Right.
I don't think that's a coincidence. And all of a sudden Jade signs and
Cena's back.
Cena's back. Like, I just feel like that they smell blood and they are about to pounce. And that is why I do think that CM Punk is a real possibility to come back to the WWE, just because I think they want everybody talking about them. I think that they want to be able to really control the headlines. And I do think, though, that Punk's saying that, oh, I got 2 months or whatever, and then I'll be busy after that. I think that's a way too much of a dead giveaway if he was actually going there. I think he's just playing with the internet, in my opinion. But I do think that Tony needs to kind of hit him back, like sign Edge, You know what I mean? Sign Will Ospreay. You're not going to be able to just take it on the chin and then go after. Because I was talking to Brandon, and he thinks that Ospreay could go to the WWE, and I'm just like, man, like I just don't see it. But he's like, who knows what kind of money they'll be offering? You know what I mean? And so I just think that like this is where it's kind of like WWE had got their ass kicked when it came to like signing free agents and competition and all that stuff. Like they were doing their own thing. This is where they have a chance to really pounce and hurt AEW if they want to go there.
If I'll make a bold prediction, if Will Ospreay signed with the WWE, he has a chance to be the biggest star in the history of wrestling. Like straight up. Like I honestly believe that. Like because the way he would be treated, they would see like his look alone, like he gets like when I went to AEW in Atlanta, there was all these women with like Will Ospreay's daddy posters and stuff. Like I mean, like they're like all the women love him, and the guy is all these cool, and he has banger matches with everybody, and he looks like a star. You know what I mean? Like you just see him.
He's only 30 too.
Well, exactly. I was getting to that, and like he hasn't even technically hit his prime yet, which is insane. Yeah, and he's already had like more 5-star matches than like anybody in history. So. No, I think AEW is like the best fit for him, like stylistically. Like he could have the most like awesome matches on a consistent basis with AEW, I think. But if he went to the WWE and they pushed him correctly, because he wouldn't have to have those kind of matches over and over, but he can do all those moves. And like when you needed to, you whip out those like the that kind of like spiral tap thing he's doing now at the top, and stuff like that. Like you only do that occasionally and stuff like in the WWE and stuff like that. But like just imagine like him versus like AJ Styles in the WWE, like how cool that would be and stuff like that. And then you would have him versus Roman, him versus Cody. Like him versus Cody would be like a main event for WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like so
him and Rollins has big build up because of what happened online and all that stuff. So I mean, but then there's another guy that's there that sounds like he's really holding out for a lot of money, and that's LA Knight. And that's an interesting one because I was even thinking to myself, like, we're not the biggest fans of LA Knight, right?
No.
But like, if you are trying to get more people to watch your program, if you were Tony Khan, like, would you go there just to get people to cross over? Because he is a guy, to me, I think LA Knight is more valuable than CM Punk. Just in the WWE's eyes, I truly believe that those kids, the fans right now, care far more about an LA Knight than CM Punk.
I mean, personally speaking, I would rather. I mean, the problem with CM Punk, I mean, there's a lot of issues. Obviously, we don't want to get into all that, but like the biggest one for me that you would avoid him has nothing to do with him on screen as a wrestler. And that's the separation I think that me and a lot of his fans have is like, I understand in a perfect world, y'all as wrestling fans of his, you want to see him on the show and there would be a lot of buzz for like the appearance and return of CM Punk on WWE and stuff like that. I get that.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why you would want to deal with all the headaches and all that. Now, listen, could WWE keep him in check more? Maybe, but like you saw that one last time he was there, and like, I mean, if you treated him, listen, I don't know because I have no interest in seeing him anywhere at this point. But like, it just is, whatever. If you're gonna make the comparison between him and LA Knight, yes, I would rather see LA Knight on my favorite wrestling show than CM Punk for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Punk is so disgusting and backstage and stuff that the guy just makes like, I just don't even want to see him anymore. I'm just so over him. I think he's so obnoxious and annoying and everything else. And, I listened to that Bobby Fish interview. Did you listen to that on Conan and Disco?
No, but I heard
love it. You would love it.
I heard I think I've read some quotes from it though.
I mean, he said one thing that Punk couldn't knock out his 10-year-old daughter with his head kick. Like he has nothing. And he said that's one thing that is not fair to this. He's like, he's insulted our business. He insulted MMA and he insulted pro wrestling. He was like, because when he went into MMA, he would throw a spinning kick and his whole body would spin around in a circle because he doesn't know the proper technique and he has no business being in there in a fight. he's like, and this is the problem is you're asking John Moxley and Bryan Danielson, all these people to sell for him when you know he can't actually do any damage. So it makes them look weak. It makes them look stupid. And I was just like, damn, it's so true though.
It's exactly what I was saying before he returned to pro wrestling. I said all of that before he came back to pro wrestling. And so many people said like there was enough, and I agree though with like there's also a lot of people, most of the fan base for AEW isn't aware of how bad they just know he wasn't successful in MMA, but like they don't understand the level of how bad it was. Like, so, and then when you find out
definitely worth listening to. I think you would absolutely love it.
I'm going to probably listen to it right after this. Yeah. Like,
well, and he said he said that they actually got into it a little bit. And what was funny is I didn't know, he said that him and Kyle got into it with FTR, and then Punk came in and tried to like talk it out or whatever. And then Bobby Fish like kind of snapped on him, and he was just like, who do you think you are? And then that like really pissed Punk off. And then he was just like Phil knows that I would flatten him. Like he has absolutely no shot against me. And that's the thing is like, but one interesting thing that he said is he's like, the Undertaker was chosen by the boys to be the leader. Phil makes himself the leader, and people don't look at him that way. And so that was a huge part of it.
People would say that about him when he started in the WWE, that he would start he would call like locker room meetings, and people would be like, no, like,
that was what Rob Van Dam said. He was like, okay, well, I'll be there. Like, why are you calling a locker room meeting? Like, and it was probably over something stupid, like you shouldn't tape your wrist this way or whatever because it looks bad. Like, he's such a moron. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But anyways, let's get into the real tough subject for you. Do you think The Rock returning is going to affect the Cody Rhodes WrestleMania story?
I mean, if The Rock's there, yeah.
I will say this. The Rock has lately, when he shows up for a reason. That he's not just there for one night and then leaves.
Yeah, no, I know. And they really built the strike, thing like McAfee being there. Yeah, the strike's obviously the biggest thing because that's the same for Cena. They're both available. I mean, you can always do the scenario of you got the two nights,
night two.
But like, I don't think The Rock's gonna wrestle 2 nights. So like,
nope. So
you got The Rock and Roman. You got to lock that
I don't think Roman will do it either, though. Honestly, I just don't. Like this guy's next title defense is in November.
Yeah, no, I know. Because in a perfect world, you would probably do like The Rock versus Roman night 1, and also maybe like Cody and Cena night 1 or something. Maybe before WrestleMania, Cody wins that other world title belt that Seth has, and like he's that champion going into WrestleMania, maybe, and it's like almost like the Vengeance tournament. Was it Vengeance whenever Jericho won the undisputed title?
Yes, it was Vengeance with the Rock, Austin, Angle, and Jericho.
Yeah. Kind of like that, where you have almost like a mini tournament with like the person at the end coming out with all the titles is like the true undisputed champion. But I think it'd be really cool if Cody beat The Rock. I mean, I think that'd get a lot of mainstream attention for that. That'd be pretty sweet. But I think at the end of the day, if you could only choose one, I think Cody's going to wind up getting boxed out. Like, I think they'll just do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, because it's finally paying off the Bloodline story also. That, I mean, this is like the final boss of the Bloodline is The Rock. I mean, like, you finally get a chance to like actually finish that story instead of finishing Cody's story.
I really don't think The Rock beats Roman, though. That's the whole thing that makes it interesting.
Well, regardless of the outcome, like,
yeah,
because the thing is, I agree with you. I think Roman needs to beat The Rock too, but that's why I would hopefully Roman would defend against The Rock on night 1, and then he would also wrestle night 2, and that's where you drop it to Cody, where like, finally it's like, but man, once again, that would include Roman wrestling both nights, staying uninjured, just.
Do you find it also like LA Knight dropped Roman's name in a promo the other day, like the other week? Like, I feel like that they're trying to hint at that too. leaving all options open.
Yeah, I think they're leaving options open. Like, I mean, there's similarities between the yes movement and the yeah movement. I mean, there's very. I mean, I would argue that one was much more entertaining and much more over than the other for real. But I will say, shout out Big Sexy Kevin Nash. This guy's out here just spitting facts on a consistent basis. It's really entertaining listening to Big Sexy.
Did you hear it? He's like, it took him 29 years to get over. I was like, oh God, that's brutal.
I'm convinced so I'm not going to say they're going brag, but Kevin Nash does follow me on Twitter. And I'm just saying, dude, like so much of the stuff that I've said almost verbatim, he is saying on his show with Sean Oliver. I'm not like, once again, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, like, like so much of it is exactly, but it's good to hear someone else agreeing with it. Once again, the guy's over. At the very least, change his finishing move. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. He's face planning.
But it's the stunner. It's like his version of the stunner, but like with the Jeff Jarrett stroke. It's so bad.
Terrible.
I agree.
Yeah.
But also the one that I hate is the people's elbow. Like, come on. It's so obvious. Like,
it's not
and
then he does the thing. Yeah.
Like, I can understand if like you're just saying some of the stuff is like from The Rock and that was an inspiration, your walk, your swagger, the way you talk. Okay. But like, literally like kind of the same moves, like that to me is a little bit of a far cry. I just it's too much.
Crease says the headlock driver. It isn't a head. It's similar to a headlock driver, but it's like the headlock driver is like a bulldog driver, like the original Dirty Deeds that Ambrose used to do. Like the when we're talking about, it's very similar though, but it looks worse because the bulldog you have someone's head down here and you're like falling forward. With what he's doing, you got someone up here, and you're both falling the same direction forward on your faces, like parallel to each other. That's listen, I know there's a lot of unrealistic things in professional wrestling, but like it just looks ridiculous. Like you would never imagine in a real fight somebody trying that, like, and how stupid that it would look like you slipped.
And not only that, like it doesn't look like it takes you out at all. Like it's just stupid. Like the whole thing is you have to sell for it, and it's dumb. But listen, the guy is over. I'm not denying that at all. He definitely is over. They like him. I think it's interesting though him holding out for money because like if it's going to be a crossroads because if they don't view him like that, this is where you're going to find out. But I think that they might have no choice. But like I said, who do you take on certain things? Like, do you just let him go to the wayside when he's already as over as he is and try to get like a free agent somewhere? Or do you go ahead and give him his money that he thinks he should get, So
well, it's interesting that I'm with it, and I don't know how, like, I don't know like how serious the discussions are about him like asking for more money,
That's cold. That's real cold.
Yeah. But like, and the reason that I preface this by saying that is because if it's true, I'll say this, if it's true that he's like actually trying to like play hardball with the WWE in any way, shape, or form, I would, if I was LA Knight's people, I would probably advise that he doesn't do that because like
I said, I don't know what leverage he has. What is out there outside of the WWE? Like, I don't even know if Tony Khan would actually bring him in. You know what I mean?
If I was negotiating, if this was me, okay, hypothetically speaking, in a video game, right? Like, I would literally, if I was like LA Knight's agent and he was actually playing hardball, and I was the agent, I wanted to get paid and I wanted to make sure he re-signed with the WWE, and that would be the smart thing to do. I would literally take a picture of Elias and just point at it and be like, "This is you." I mean, very easily. Like the second you like, I'd show him a picture of Rusev and be like, "Remember Rusev Day? Like this, like you need to. I understand the idea of capitalizing, like striking while the iron's hot, but we have seen the Miz storyline was very accurate. We've seen a ton of wrestlers in the same position 1,000 times where they get over for a very short amount of time and it fizzles out. And I know that was the storyline and everything with him and the Miz, but like that's the reason they did it is because it's actually accurate. Now,
also, I believe WWE can get you buried quick. Like if they want to, like it doesn't matter what the crowd thinks of him. They will not care about him within a month if they decide to go that route.
They found out Moxley was like either playing hardball or going to be leaving, and they had Nia Jax knocking him over.
How about Rusev having his wife making out with Bobby Lashley in front of him? Like, I mean, they will make you look like a fool if they know that you're about to bounce or whatever. So
and look at the chat. What happened to Elias? That's my whole point. Like, remember how over Walk with Elias was for a little while?
Yep.
I mean, it's the same formula. And I would argue Elias is not very good, and he's better than LA Knight. Anyway. Whatever.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, but I will say this. Here's the thing too. I think The Rock needs this. I really do. Like he's been taking L after L after L after L. He needs to get some momentum going again. And so I think this is perfect for him. And I think he's actually going to do it. Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, is I just don't know. Like for me, like I know that it's a big match and everything, but I really feel like they could easily do this at Royal Rumble. These Royal Rumble events now are in stadiums. It could still be an extremely big deal. CM Punk and The Rock were at Royal Rumble back in the day for the title.
Yep. It's in Tampa Bay, right? Tropicana is where they're doing.
Yeah, I think so. Sami Zayn and Roman, that storyline, like that was the final, part of the story where Sami turned on Roman and all that. Massive, massive pop. Like I think that they could easily do that. And not really affect WrestleMania. And then you could even use Rock for something else for WrestleMania, So I think it's very likely that the Usos are going to wrestle each other at WrestleMania too. I think that they're keeping them separate and they're going to find a way to have them face each other at WrestleMania.
If you wanted to really get Solo over, you could use Solo in the Rocket Mania.
Can real quick, this probably will be my final question for you, but like, can you put your finger on why the WWE is so successful right now?
Yeah, it's 2 words, dude. American Nightmare.
Oh, God. Stop.
I mean, look at the trajectory of the company since he came back.
I mean, I think he's a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, listen, I'm not gonna have Cody take full credit. But what I will say, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think wrestling in general is like in a good spot. Like, it isn't weird to be a wrestling fan anymore. Like it used to be, which is pretty cool. Like I don't feel. Do you
think that's because of nerd culture? Just event like it's kind of like it was cool to like Marvel. It was cool to like Star Wars. Right. It was cool to like all that stuff.
Right. You can't make the argument that like Star Wars is cool and like wrestling is lame. Like you can't. You know what I mean? Like if you're into one or the other, like it's all there. So like, I think it's that. And I think it's also the just the knowledge of like everyone knows it's not real. And like, I don't really get that question that often anymore where like I tell someone I'm a wrestling fan and they're like, it's fake, right? It's like everyone knows that it's fake. It's just like, a movie's fake. So I think, and then I think they just have a really good talent roster. Cody's talked about this too. And I think he's right with this where I mean, not just him, but guys like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and even like the Miz and stuff, a lot of these guys are like, they're the veterans now and they're actually really good at what they do, especially for what the WWE needs them to do. Like if you like the WWE and you go to a live event, like you have a blast. Like I only stayed for Cody's stuff. I stayed for like an hour when I went to Raw, a couple months ago, but that's just me. Like I was looking around, I could hear the fans and stuff. And you could see, like they were into all of it, and it's like, and even the non-fans, you can see the people's eyes lighting up. Like, what is this? Like, this is amazing.
This is why I think that AEW has a problem where WWE does not. is because if you're catering to the hardcore fan base, right, of AEW, the hardcore wrestling fan base, when we see somebody come out, like we're not going to a show so we can just see like Bryan Danielson cut a promo. We want to see him have like a great match, right? These people are going to WWE literally just to see the person in person. Like
they
that's
showed
it.
Raquel Rodriguez on the big screen during like main event before Raw even started, and the place was screeching with kids. Like, yes,
Right.
Raquel, yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, show hadn't even started yet. Like they're going nuts for this.
And
This
it
is
could be
great.
some like not even a meaningful match, but like she comes out and people go nuts, right? Like you're not getting that in AEW. Like they
Right.
come to actually see the matches. Like when you buy a ticket to Grand Slam, you're going there to watch wrestling matches. You're going there to cheer on your favorite people, but you're not going there just so you can say, oh, I finally saw MJF, you know, like you're going there so you can actually be entertained and see a show,
Yeah.
you know?
I would also credit WWE social media presence. I mean, they have like one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world, like not just like in sports, like on all of YouTube. They have like 100 million YouTube subscribers, which is like super rare. They're like Mr. Beast level, which is like all on YouTube. I mean, not in the views, but you know, relatively speaking, WWE is in like the tippy top, like 0.1% or whatever of like YouTube channels in this success. And then all their social media, they're such a well-oiled machine, and you know, and they just do what they do. They just do super well. And I know they've always been that way, but now, for whatever reason, like it's just the combination of all of it. And I think AEW helps WWE too, because I think like there's even just wrestling in general, like it trickles all over the place. So I think there's a lot of factors, but I also think it comes down to the talent also. I think that there's a lot of people who grew up, you know, fans of the Shield. They were little kids when the Shield was becoming a big thing. And now like they've had almost a decade of Roman Reigns being their guy. Like, you know, they remember Cody like when they were little kids, and now he's back as a totally different person now, and like they like it. And you know, I think that the most interesting story going on right now in the WWE is the Jey Uso thing, because the motivation behind why Cody brought him over is the whole story there to me. And that bleeds into the storyline for the bloodline, of course, as well. So like that's a whole other thing that like we have to keep in mind of where this is all heading. I think that, but to go back to kind of one of your original points about this, I do think that The Rock versus I'd prefer if they did The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, and I think that would be great if they. Tropicana Field's kind of a dump in Tampa Bay. I'm kind of surprised they're even going there. I'm keeping it real. I used to live close by to there, and
I think they got outbid. I think they were going to go to Orlando, and then they got outbid. So.
Yeah, it's a nice area though. Like I like Tampa Bay. It's just like that actual stadium is like not a good stadium, but it'd be cool if they did that there and then had something different for The Rock. But I'm also, once again, I think at some point. I think the main reason they brought Jey Uso to Raw is so that him and Cody could have some sort of ongoing story that also led back into Cody and Roman. Like maybe it's something even as simple as like Cody got Jey traded to Raw or whatever, or moved to Raw, or got him signed to Raw. And later on, we find out as a part of that deal, like long term, Cody is going to be over on SmackDown. And the reason he wanted this deal done is so he could get on SmackDown so he could go after Roman. You know, like, I mean, so because on Monday, the explanation was basically Cody being like, I love the fans and the fans love Jey. And so the fans want to see Jey. And it seemed very disingenuous. It was like, there's more to the reasoning here than what they're getting at. And it's like causing a wedge potentially between Owens and Zayn and him and that dynamic. So at least that they have Cody doing something that seems interesting now going forward, because they were really just like killing time after the Brock stuff, it seemed like. So
well, I mean, like they have some overacts, right? Like they have the Judgment Day that I feel like is pretty over. They have the Bloodline, they have Jey, they have and like, you know, every time Logan Paul shows up, it seems like it's a pretty big deal, and it usually comes with a really cool match. They have part of pop culture right now, you know, like I was saying, like
part of it too.
I was to say, like, if Dion actually took Colorado and they won like a national championship, I could see Dion and the Colorado team showing up on Raw with the Colorado WWE title. You know what I mean? Like, they have that ability that like AEW does not have. And so
But then
I think there's
reports come out that like they're trying to get Messi for Crown Jewel or something like that too. The WWE.
it was Ronaldo.
Oh, Ronaldo. I don't know
Yeah.
soccer very well. I just
Yeah,
know
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
He's right up there with Messi. Not saying I'm not saying comparing. I'm just saying like star wise, he's a huge star.
I don't know one way or
yeah.
the other, but those are two names I know, and I don't know anything
Right.
about soccer, but I know those two names. So
There you go. So like just the ability to do stuff like that, I think is another reason why. But I also think in general, like there's a lot of people that stopped watching wrestling that could watch a Gunther match, that could watch a Ricochet match and be like, holy crap, wrestling's crazy now. There's so many crazy moves and stuff, and they have no idea how crazy it can get on the indie scene and all that stuff. But just seeing that alone is enough for them, like where they're good.
Well, they can get drawn in, I think, pretty easily if they're like big, they're members of the Low Gang or they're Mavericks, they're fans of Logan Paul, and they don't know anything about wrestling, but they watch clips of his match with Ricochet and they're like, whoa, like I didn't know this was going on, like they're doing really cool moves and stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean the celebrity involvement is obviously humongous. I actually just watched, I haven't finished it yet, but I was watching some of Kurt Angle was on Joe Rogan today.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to check it out.
And, he brought that up too. Like Tony Hinchcliffe was there as well. Tony does all the episodes when like they have a wrestler on. And
so Joe isn't like clueless.
Yeah. And, so anyway, so they were, I'm trying to remember what the conversation was about.
Celebrities you were talking about.
Oh, right. So they brought that. They were talking about that and about how Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, these guys, like they have all the money in the world and they don't really even need to like do all this because like it's so physically demanding. And they could also like the celebrities used to just come in and just like hardly do anything. And now they're going out there and having these full matches and being like really good at it. But it's also such a huge cross promotion for them to be able to have a prime energy in their hand and like all this whole new audience sees your product. Or Bad Bunny, dude. I know nothing about Bad Bunny or his music. And that's probably ignorant. I'm just not in. I don't speak Spanish, so I wouldn't understand a lot of his music to begin with. I know it sounds cool. My stepbrother speaks Spanish and he loves Bad Bunny, but I didn't know that until I told him. I was like, hey, this guy. Actually, he came over and saw Bad Bunny wrestling on a WWE show I was watching, and he was marking out because he didn't know the guy was wrestling. So he was like, oh, I'm this huge fan for Bad Bunny. So then like the next time we got together, he was playing Bad Bunny music in his car. And I was like, dude, like the guy. So I understood at that moment. I was like, this guy must be like a massive, massive star. From like my stepbrother's all of a sudden like interested in seeing his match and stuff like this. And then I come to find out, oh no, he's like the biggest star in like the world. It's like, I really didn't know. And he didn't have to do any of this, but even it's beneficial for someone like him for me, because now I know who he is. Now I've at least heard his music. Now I can, at the very least, in random conversation with someone who brings that person's name up, I'm the guy in that conversation who's like, oh, did you know he wrestled for the WWE? And most people are like, no. And I'll like show them a clip and they're like, I have a conversation starter with somebody at least to be like, oh no, this is really cool. Like this guy that you're a big fan of is doing something that I'm a big fan of. And like, he's actually really good at it. And he's a huge fan. Like he's a mark for WWE. Like he loves this stuff. So it's really cool. And that's a big part of their growth worldwide is you don't get to do it. Not everyone can just do a show in like Puerto Rico and have it be like the coolest event ever,
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Like I said, and they're also like they have the ability now to like really like there's a lot of stars from a lot of different places that they can take those and headline those shows like in the UK and stuff like that, and like that much more international. They have way more stadium shows now. Like there's a lot of things that are very appealing to the eye and make them look extremely successful, which they are. I'm not saying it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm just saying like, if you're just an average fan, if you're not a diehard wrestling fan and you watch this, it's very easy to follow. You get to watch Raw and SmackDown on TV, and then all you have to do is watch the Peacock pay-per-view once a month. and that's it. With AEW, I feel like that for a casual fan, it's tough because you might need to know 10 years worth of wrestling history to understand a lot of stuff that's going on. You're going to need to have things explained to you. I think dividing the roster right now is kind of tough because it's necessary, but it also is like you're not at your peak and you're dividing the roster and you're adding more shows for people to try to watch. And now basically Collision is Dynamite 2.0. So you have it's just a lot to ask people to follow on a Wednesday night, a Saturday night, and now you're having way more pay-per-views. I mean, we're gonna have like 3 really big shows like within a month. That's a lot to ask your fan base. It isn't for the diehards, right? That are willing to do whatever. But if you're trying to grow and get new attention, it might not be the best idea. You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's like I don't think that the AEW should be looking to get casual fans. I think AEW should be looking to try to get WWE fans to watch their show. I think that should be the goal.
I agree and disagree. It just really depends on kind of how you look at it. Like I think they could use more WWE fans, but I also don't want it to be a point where it's like the WWE fans infiltrated too much to where like now you have this divide similar to the CM Punk situation where it's like
right.
Where
like Wardlow should be champ.
Right.
Wardlow should be champ because he's the biggest, or whatever. Like, yeah, I see what you mean there too.
Yeah.
It's touch and go. Man, let's read off these super chats and then you can bounce. I just want to make sure we get these read before you go. Sure. So Alexander Fitzgerald, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Says congrats on reaching it to Live Rounds 100. Thanks for making my Tuesdays during my work break enjoyable. Always, no problem, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cactus J, say it with me. Steven, Rock versus Roman at Mania to finish the story. Bummer.
Yeah, that's rough. Thanks for supporting the show.
Alexander Fitzgerald with another super chat. Thank you very much. Punk saying he has time on his hands for 2 months. Do you see Punk at Survivor Series? Punk not suing or saying his side of the story is interesting. I agree with that. There's something there because normally this guy would definitely go that route. So the fact that he's not kind of makes me feel like he's comfortable with whatever he's doing in the future. And if you were going to debut him, I mean, Survivor Series in Chicago makes all the sense in the world. And I feel like you would get a lot of fans that aren't AEW fans that would go to that show that are like happy to see CM Punk and he hasn't pissed them off. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that would be most of the WWE fan base. Like, I think that like most of the WWE fan base would love to have CM Punk back and they just wouldn't really know how big of a problem
all the craziness
the rest of it is. And also, and thank you, Alexander, as always, for the super chat. But I'll also say, part of me understands the mindset of like if like Punk not suing because he's very much the. I made the comparison about like the old South Park episodes with like the Trapped in the Closet episode with Tom Cruise and stuff where you're so sued, I'm gonna sue you. Just like that's very how I see CM Punk. But maybe part of it is because he just knows his future is bright and it's just not worth dealing with. Or maybe he has nothing he can sue them over because like he totally like breached his own contract and they got out of it. So
I know that they made him sign a pretty hefty like terms and conditions paper or whatever before he came back. Like they made sure that they had everything covered. And I mean, like you said, there's likely video cameras back there at Wembley that have the whole thing on tape. So it's like, oh, what more can you really do? You just take your L and you move on. You know what I mean? So it could be a multitude of things. Real quick though, just right now, do you think he goes back to the WWE? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. I'm 50-50. I really am. Like I could see it either way.
I think there's enough people backstage that are like not worth it.
I that's what I think too, honestly. Like just in general, I just think that like what if they decide to do that, it is going to be you're bringing way too much drama when things are going so well. It just makes no sense.
Unless they wanted to bring him in for the big pop and then have him lose like a few big matches, and he'd have to be okay with that also. And like I don't see.
I
that
could see
going
him
well.
like from Survivor Series to Mania. If I were to do a deal with him, that's what I would do. Survivor Series to Mania.
I wouldn't
and
put
then
him
you
over
work
anyone. Like,
s-
you know what
a
I mean?
limited
Who can you think
schedule.
of that? It's like who would it be a good idea to have CM Punk wrestle and lose to CM Punk right now? Like they're in a story in a match that would make sense to do. He'd have to lose all the matches I could think of.
Like, what the hell are they doing with Austin Theory? Like you think that they were done with him, and then they did the segment with The Rock. Like, what was the point in that? Like, I could see them trying to trot out Austin Theory and CM Punk or something stupid like that. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Kogan, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it so much. Congrats on 100 episodes. I've been watching since day one. Best case scenario, Cody Roman night 1, then Rock Roman Tribal Combat night 2. Cody needs to finish the story, but that dream match, man. So there
Are you
you go.
implying though that Cody loses night 1 and gets title? Because the other thing is like the bloodline, the Roman and Rock thing doesn't really need the title. It's just
Well, and that's what
now.
I think you could go there, and that's why he's saying the Rock Roman Tribal Combat night 2. So it's basically for the tribal chief of the title. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's what I would do. And that's the thing is like, you know, Roman's been champion. Roman's had titles. Like, this is for the lineage of the family. This is for the head of the table. Like, that's why I think this storyline could be really good if they wanted to go there. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You could have family members in the crowd. You could build the whole thing really well if they wanted to actually go there. So
I've been saying since the beginning that I still feel like there's a niche story there within the story where, like, just a coincidence here that like Manu is a part of the bloodline, like technically speaking, and he was in the legacy with Cody. And I just feel like that's like just something they could do with this, something even just one night on Raw, just a quick story that involves that being brought up and him on the show and stuff. There's other family members that obviously can still be included more heavily and stuff. And so, yeah.
Sweet. Last one. Credible Jake, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. It's like, I honestly respect Batista more in 2014 for taking a backseat for Daniel Bryan compared to The Rock, who will take a spot from a star with momentum. And he will. He definitely will. But it's one of those things, too, where it's like, if you can get The Rock, and as hot as they are right now, like, it's pretty hard to turn down. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they've wanted this year over year for like 5 years now or whatever. Like, they've wanted to do this match.
You know, it could have been, you know, Cody win the year before, and then we wouldn't have to worry about any of this. You know what I mean?
That 100% with that.
Such a mess. They
especially because Roman's defended the title
there.
like twice since or whatever, and he's not going to defend again for a while. I mean, it's like it was completely pointless to prolong this. But,
well, in a lot of programs, they're literally just dragging to get to WrestleMania. Like, they literally have nothing, and they're just like, okay, I guess we'll do this here, and let's kind of get to where we can, you know. So it's pretty interesting turn of events. We'll see what happens. Anything you're really looking forward to on Arthur Ashe Grand Slam?
I mean, obviously, like, I think MJF and Samoa Joe is interesting.
It's a feud. Honestly, I didn't think we were gonna get. I really didn't. I didn't think it would ever happen, and I think it's pretty cool that it is happening. So I'm cool with it.
And then Sammy and Jericho. I'd imagine they'll probably have more matches because Jericho feuds usually go long. But I'm glad that they're finally like doing that.
Kingston's totally winning the ROH title.
Yeah, that's going to be. I agree. He should at least. I mean, at this point, they should do that. And I don't see Claudio winning the title that Kingston holds. So, but yeah, I think it'll be a good show. And then one last thing that I'll say, just really quick before I get out of here, is because I saw someone ask about it earlier somewhere in the chat. Like WWE did some tryouts recently, and Cassidy Haynes, my buddy over there at bodyslam.net, and Sean confirmed a lot of these, or maybe all of them, is but some names that I saw on there that I think are definitely interesting. I think people should look out for. Jay Malachi is super talented, and he's young. He's maybe like 19 or 20. I've been seeing him around a little bit. He's like West Coast Pro and stuff like that. Richard Holiday, a lot of people know him already from MLW. and he recently, he like battled, I think it was Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
So,
he fits
he's
the
back.
WWE style too.
Yeah, you got a really good look.
Yep.
Brogan Finley, he's Fit Finley's son and David Finley's brother. And Brogan's only like maybe 20. He might not even be 20 yet. But I saw like he started getting his like first matches in like the Chattanooga area. So I was like tapped into him when he literally first started having matches. And I knew he was going to be a fast trajectory to getting signed because obviously being Fit Finley's son, there's going to be connections there. But the kid's super talented, also really young. And then Maddie Rinkowski is really talented. She'll fit in really well with the women in the WWE if she gets signed, which I imagine she would. And I also think Hollywood Haley J has like a really good look. I haven't seen a ton of her matches, but I've seen a lot of her on like social media and stuff. So there's like a lot of good, and that's just some of the talent, but those are some people off that list that I think people should be keeping an eye on, or you go and check out like their indie stuff if you want to know more about them.
Nice. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, Live Rounds episode 100. We made it.
We did it.
Definitely appreciate it. And if you got anything you want to plug or anything like that, and then hopefully your Vikings can beat the Chargers.
Yeah, hopefully.
We got Arizona. Start the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I absolutely will be. Although I do have James Conner on my fantasy team. I might have to bench him this week or something. But yeah, thanks to everyone for 100 episodes. Really appreciate it. And like I was saying at the top of the show, I may have to take a couple weeks off the next couple weeks or so, potentially. Maybe not. We just got to see how the work schedule is looking. But I appreciate all y'all. Just follow me on Twitter, FightTalk_. I keep all this stuff updated. And Doug is going to have y'all on. If you want to come on and talk right here on the show, this is your opportunity to do that. And if you have other questions, Doug's going to be here for a little while. And yeah, once again, thank you guys very much. And thank you, Doug. Always been a good time doing the show. I plan to send your action figures in the mail tomorrow. I should have a break where it's so bad because my USPS, their lunch break is supposed to be a certain time every day. It's supposed to be 1:30 to 2:30. But because there's only one person that works in there, it can shift a little bit depending on how busy they are. And and same with my lunch break. So sometimes it lines up almost identical to where like when I'm busy, when I'm free, they're gone. So I think tomorrow I can take my break at the right time based on how my workflow should be going. Anyway, I plan to send your stuff out. And thank you for getting my Ernie Reyes Jr. autograph because I'm very looking forward to that. Like that looks badass.
You have no idea how crazy that thing was.
Like, you told me it was like 7 hours long or whatever.
Got to be a man.
Did you get a signed figure also?
Yeah.
Do you want to show it on the screen real quick? It's so sad. I can't wait to get mine from you in the mail.
Yeah, let's see right there.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude. That's gonna be on my wall behind me somewhere. Yeah. Oh,
it's fantastic. And like, dude, there were so many people with NECA figures there, and like it I mean, there was just thousands of dollars of merch because like as soon as these guys, like what was sick are the ones that were like the 4-pack of turtles, and then they would get each one of them to sign on there with their colored like turtle with the paint pen. So like Michelangelo would be orange and Raphael red and all that. It looked amazing. Saw some incredible posters, all signed by the cast and everything, all with different colors, all with like their own signature stuff. Like wild, man. But like I literally was in line for like 6 hours. Like it was a grind. It was definitely a grind, but it was really cool. And I just didn't expect that many people, but man, there were so many people there. Like the turtle love is for real.
Dude, that's so dope for like him, especially. Cause like I was like, we talked about it before, and I'll kind of leave the show on kind of this note, a little nostalgia here for everyone. But like when me and Doug were growing up, like you were lucky to have like a VCR and like a few movies that like in whatever you had, like you just watched like all the time. Like, you know what I mean? And for me, 2 of those movies were Surf Ninjas and Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. And like this guy was a star in both of those movies. And me as a kid growing up, seeing like other kids and teenagers like in these movies, it was like very relatable. So So to know that like all these years later, this guy is not only cornering my favorite fighters of all time, Nate Diaz, and he's part of the Diaz army, but there's all these fans like us. There's hundreds of people still like willing. It sucks that it was so unorganized. You were there so long, but it's really cool knowing that like hundreds of people showed up like for this guy still, like, because they all feel the same way we do about it, so that's
and what was funny is like I'm telling him, I'm it's funny, I was with a buddy of mine and he didn't even really know who Ernie Reyes Jr. is, and I kept like hammering him, like, you don't know what Surf Ninjas, and like, you don't know Red Sonja, you don't know Last Dragon, like, what are you talking, like, Ernie Reyes Jr. is a legend, right? And so I'm going up there and I told him, like, I don't really get starstruck or anything, it's not a big deal. And he's like, dude, you're pretty close up there. Like, I'm like, I know, dude, I was marking out. So like, I'm talking to him, right? And I'm telling him like all the movies that I'm a fan of. And like, if I tell him like something that's kind of like niche that a lot of people don't know about, like I brought up Secret Bodyguard and Ultimate Fight and Submission and stuff like that. And he was just like, yeah. And he gave me like a fist bump, But like what got him, I was just like, but like, I love all your stuff, but what I think is really cool is I'm like, I think it's badass that you're part of Diaz Army. And dude, he like lit up and he was just like, yeah. And then he was like, you want to be on my Instagram? You want to shout out Diaz Army? I was like, yeah, so I did. And he posted it. And then like, he called me 209 every time, like, because I was like, shout out 209. So I saw him at the photo op, because I had also paid for a professional photo op, and I was walking towards him. He's like, 209, what's up? He's like, I posted that. You saw it, right? I was like, yeah, I did, So like, it was sick. But that's cool. he was cool as hell. But dude, I'm not kidding. Like, everybody was getting him to sign these figures. Like, there were people that were just like, but there was a guy from Rhode Island that drove 25 hours to be there, dressed up like Casey Jones and everything. And he had just like a sack full of NECA figures of just all of them to be signed. It's like crazy.
I almost asked you, and I wound up not asking because like it would have been kind of weird because like it's a Turtles figure, but I almost asked you to see if he'd sign it like Diaz Army, like inscribe it or something. But like
he would have.
But I think that like maybe like hopefully he gets to do more of those in the future, and I can get one of like somebody signed like a picture of like him with them or something like that. That would make a little more sense.
I got this sign.
Yeah, that's sick.
So it's dope. It was very cool, man. It was a really cool experience. I'll post some pictures and stuff that I haven't posted sometime soon. So
I'm gonna DM him. I've never like really talked to him before, but I'm gonna DM him whenever I get that back from you, and I'm gonna be like, hey man, my buddy was there and like he talked to you about Diaz Army, like this is like he got this for me while he was there, and like so I'm thinking for signing it, so I'll bring you up. That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, definitely, man.
Hell yeah. All right, everyone, have a good night. See you, Doug.
See
you, chat.
All right, man.
Episode 100. Later. I'll see you guys soon. And hope you join in the show. Get in here. Talk to Doug.
For sure.
All right. See you guys.
All right, man. Later. All right, guys. We'll see how this goes. It's just basically up to you what you guys want to do. Let's see here. If you guys don't want to come on or whatever, it's fine. Just send me questions. I'll answer them or whatever. We missed last week, so I'm sure there's plenty to talk about that we missed out on. Let's see. Let me see here real quick. So, by the way, Collision is stacked, huh? That's freaking crazy. Like, Collision looked terrible last week. I didn't get to watch it because I was at that Turtles convention, and I didn't really care to catch up on it because it didn't seem like it was that great. But yeah, it's pretty stacked. If if you look into it, it's going to be Bryan Danielson and Ricky Starks in a Texas death match, which is wild because the next week Danielson has to face Sabre Jr. So hopefully he's okay there. And then you have Jay White versus Andrade, which is sick. And then RVD is wrestling again, which I think is really cool. And like deep down, I kind of want RVD to just call out Kenny Omega for Wrestle Dream, because I think that's like a perfect match for Wrestle Dream, right? Like it's just like a dream match that you never thought you would see, and it just would be like cool, right? Like, and it could just, it doesn't have to be crazy in-depth story. It's just the fact that like, hey, I hear you're the best. I want to fight the best. I'll see you at Wrestle Dream or something. I would be on cloud nine. Bro, I'm so excited for that. And let me tell you, like, I really think the Cowboys want this game more than the 49ers, because the 49ers have beat us, right? Like, it's not like it's not, it doesn't drive them, right? Like we have lost to you guys, and it's like we know to get over that hump, we have to beat y'all. So definitely looking forward to that match. And that game could very well be the NFC Championship game. And what I love about our schedule is we have to play y'all, we have to play the Dolphins, we have to play the Bills. Like we have to play a lot of tough teams to where we'll know where we stand at the end of this. The Eagles twice. We'll know where we stand at the end of this. So I'm really excited about that game. And I like our chances. NFL, that's a good question, Frankie. NFL teams that have surprised me. Tampa Bay. That's one. Yeah, Tampa Bay is definitely one. Honestly, like Arizona is like they've lost their games, but they've been pretty competitive. And I thought that they were really more for Tank City, but I think they're actually trying to win. So that kind of surprised me. I think the Cowboys defense is even better than I could have ever hoped. So that kind of surprised me. I mean, I thought we were going to be really good, but I mean, that defense right now is incredible. And I really liked the way that we called the offense last week. That really excited me. I mean, CD had 11 catches. That's crazy if we're going to target the playmakers, you know what I mean? I'm surprised that the Vikings and the Chargers are 0-2. Didn't really expect that. What else? Other than that, I'm not too shocked on things, I don't think. Maybe I think the Rams being better, I didn't expect that. Puka, I mean, where did he come from, right? Puka's incredible. So that was a surprise. So yeah, go with that. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Do you think the Young Bucks showing up on Collision was a slap in the face to CM Punk? No, I just think that they're basically showing that division is over. That whole, this guy can't be on this show and this person can't be on that show. It's done. I think that's more of what it represented. What do you think AEW can do to improve ticket sales? Seems like maybe dropping the ticket prices and marketing more will help. Plus, not milking the same places like New York and Chicago will help. Seems like going and doing these like local things has helped. Like AEW has moved almost 2,000 tickets for Grand Slam within like a week. And they've been doing a lot of appearances, right? They did, MJF's been going around. Jericho's been going around. Like they've really been trying to push. I think they might want to look more into doing that. I also think that you have to stack these shows. You know, you can't have a collision card like last week and expect people to really go out of their way to buy a ticket. You're gonna have to really give them something to want to go see. This is not the WWE. This is not just I want to go to a live event because I want to see my favorite wrestlers. Like, people are buying tickets to go to AEW to see great matches and meaningful things. So you can't just, mail it in. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's fair. I heard the opener was good. I didn't pay attention to the main event. Was that Britt and Statlander? If that's good, then that's good to hear. And then yeah, the Eddie Kingston promo was good. It just depends. I mean, like Arthur Ashe, I mean, they're still gonna sell 8,000 tickets. Like, Full Gear is looking at over 7,000 right now, and that isn't even for a couple of months. So I mean, and a lot of this stuff, like, how about you announce some matches when tickets go on sale? Like, we're doing this thing now where, like, these tickets go on sale and no matches are announced whatsoever. And, like, yeah, that might work for WWE and that might have worked for previous AEW, but, like, you're not at that stage right now. You need to kind of tell people what they're going to get for them to go ahead and spend the money. What's up, Michael? Man, I'm sorry about your Patriots. It's been pretty rough, huh? How do you feel these injuries to running backs will affect long-term outlook in the position? I feel like they are losing leverage by the week because many of the backups are filling the void enough. And that's the case, man. Like, I don't think that they have a lot of leverage. Like, why would I want to spend 14-16 million dollars on a running back when I can get a kid from college and pay him like $400,000? Like, it's just the way it's going to be. And on top of that, like, the guarantee that these guys are even going to make it through a season isn't looking good. I mean, that Nick Chubb injury was awful. Saquon's already hurt again. Like, you have, and it'll just be like one by one by one. And that's why you have to have 3 or 4 of them. So if you have to have 3 or 4 of them, like, how are you going to pay one a huge amount of money? So, I mean, the only thing I can think of that you can do is, like, a running back can make more money at that position, make more money at first when it's drafted than any other position or something like that. But I mean, you can't force teams and owners and all this to pay these prices if they don't feel like it's justified. And right now it just doesn't look justified. Is it unfair? Yeah. But I mean, not everything's fair. You know what I mean? But, like, also, how fair is it that they pay you all this money and you can only last 2 games? You know what I mean? So I mean, it's tough. And guys just aren't lasting long. I mean, you look at Zeke, he's slow as hell, right? Like, you could give Zeke an open screen and he'd probably take it 8 yards, You look at Najee Harris, he looks completely washed now, and he hasn't even hit his 5 years. So, I mean, these guys aren't lasting very long, and the explosion is going quick, and it doesn't make any sense to pay them unless they're a freak athlete, right? Frankie, are we getting Eagles Cowboys NFC Championship? I don't know, Frankie. I feel like the 49ers and the Cowboys are better than the Eagles right now. And I mean, I'm sure you're rolling your eyes at that, but I just do. I feel like a lot of people have tape on Jalen Hurts now, and it's different, right? Because that's the thing with Dak that Dak doesn't get enough credit for, is Dak has been in the league now 8 years. Like, it is so hard when they figure you out and you have to change your style and adapt. And we're going to see if Hurts can do that. And Hurts is not built to just get hit. He's just not. Like, he can only run the ball for so long. That is not going to last. So he's going to have to become a passer. And yeah, he has his moments, but like overall, I wouldn't say he's a great passer. And he also has a very elite wide receivers, right? If he didn't have that, what would he look like? So we'll see what happens. But and I think your secondary is very suspect now. You know, like you lost. I do think you guys are going to get Buda Baker though, which absolutely sucks. But at the end of the day, like you got to prove it all over again, and the schedule's tough. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, that makes sense. I do think that they need to go to different markets. The only problem is that you can't guarantee how well it'll sell. You know what I mean? So it's like they know that if they go to Chicago or this place, that place, they at least have a good market there that they can sell. So it really just depends. But it's definitely disheartening to see some of these ticket sales in the States. It's rough. I mean, when you're only selling like 2,000 tickets, 3,000 tickets, it's kind of depressing when you got WWE selling 8, 9, 10,000 tickets for SmackDown or Raw. But that's where we're at right now. That's why it's really important if you're an AEW fan to support them. Go see their shows. Go out and do things. You know what I mean? Go test the waters and actually commit and decide to go to a show or make that trip or whatever, because right now they need it. Yeah, that was a little surprising. He's done pretty well. And that's the thing too about the Jets is like the Jets are automatically crowning themselves like they were going to be the best team in the league and all this stuff because of Aaron Rodgers. But like, does anybody want to talk about that Aaron Rodgers might be past his prime? Like, I mean, he's definitely past his prime, but like he might be like not very good. We don't even know. I mean, when you're not mobile anymore, and his mobility was a huge part of his game, that's going to be a big problem. And yes, I know he's like Achilles and all that stuff, and it sucks, but like I don't know if he has that injury if he's not so old. Like I just don't think his body can hang anymore. So I think that's a huge part of this too. So I don't think that the Packers really miss Aaron Rodgers is basically what I'm saying. So take that for what you will. Yeah, Bengals 0-2. That's a surprise. That's definitely a surprise. And it could get worse if Joe Burrow is out. I mean, if that calf injury is re-injured, like that's not good, man. It's not good for them. Chris with the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it as always, man. Says, hi, Doug. Do you think that Izzy should have to fight someone else before getting another title shot? I do, because he's 1-2 in his last 3 fights. Yeah. I like the idea of Izzy fighting DDP and then Strickland fighting the winner of Chimaev and Costa. I think that would probably be the best thing to do. So, but yeah, Izzy's weird, man. I mean, he just did not show up. But it's like I don't want to take anything away from Strickland though, because Strickland is so game and he just went after him and he like took him. He mentally broke Izzy. You know what I mean? So like props to Strickland. Yeah, I think bringing Joe out there is a risk, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a good year for Cincinnati. Have they ever ran a pay-per-view in Philly, or they've just done like dynamites and collisions or whatever? I know Texas once won. Yes, John, they do. Bring more AEW to Texas. Because Texas is such an interesting spot because you could get, like, based on where it is, like, because I live in Houston, right? Like Dallas is 3 hours away. Austin's 3 hours away. San Antonio's 3 hours away. It's like you could literally put a pay-per-view in any of those cities and I can go. You know what I mean? And then that's a way a lot of people will. It won't just be the local, people from Dallas or wherever. Like they'll all go if it's like a pay-per-view. Like, yeah, Dynamite or whatever. But like if it's a pay-per-view, you'll get a lot of people from Texas to go. Yeah, I think Grand Slam is going to be good. I don't think it has the star power that the original Grand Slam did. The Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson type match. But like overall, I think it's a really good show, a good card, and it should be very entertaining. It was really good because Britt hasn't had a really good match or a good match in a while. So that's kind of surprising to hear. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, AEW should do more radio shows, talk shows, have them College Game Day, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, College Game Day, they got on lock probably with Pat and all that stuff. It'll be WWE, but I know what you mean. Maybe more NBA, something like that. I absolutely love that Sean Strickland is the UFC champion. I think it is so funny. Honestly, it is the modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon with him and Dana. Like, he is so not the corporate business champion guy you want. I also think it's very telling that he's super over and he says a lot of super offensive things. But people just like authenticity, man. Like that is what they love about him. And because he's so real, people are willing to forgive the things that they're offended by. And they just love that guy. Like the fact that he went into Australia and just made that place his house over Izzy, it's wild. But like, I'm a fan, man. I'm super excited for his next fight and all. But like, I feel like Dana is going to feed him to the wolves. I feel like Chimaev is next, and Chimaev is going to run right through him. Let's see. What else do we have here? Thanks for all the questions, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, I want to kind of do something different for you guys. The UFC 100, live rounds 100. Just if you haven't got a question answered before, if you haven't, gotten my attention on anything, just send them through. I'll try to do my best to answer your question. If you want to support the channel, as always, appreciate super chats. Definitely, you guys have been awesome with that and keeping this channel alive, and I can't thank you enough for that as well. Insane to think CM Punk, Cena, Orton, Lesnar, Edge, and Miz are the last to come out of the old locker room of the Wild West in WWE. Yeah, I mean, we're about to be in a whole new generation, and all those guys are gone. I mean, Bryan Danielson also. I mean, he said that next year he's done, which is in August, from what I understand. So we have him till August, and then I don't think he's done. Like, I think he probably will show up for big pay-per-views and things like that. But like for him to be a weekly wrestler, he's done, which is another blow to AEW. That's why I think it's so important to get a Will Ospreay or to get, even an Edge for a little while or something, because you can't lose CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and other names and just expect to just be business as usual. You're going to have to replace people like that. Wrestle Dream should have announced the main event as soon as tickets went on sale. I agree. I also think if you know that it's coming up this soon, there should be way more announced than just 3 matches and it's next week. You know what I mean? Like, that's so frustrating that they do that all the time. Well, I think we have 3, right? Maybe 4. We have Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., which is incredible. We have Hangman and Swerve, which I absolutely love. I love that feud. I love the match. Very happy about that. We have Aussie Open versus FTR. I think that's it so far. That's why I think it'd be dope, man. Just do RVD and Omega. Do something fun. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. Like, it's like Takeshita. Oh, Takeshita and Kota Ibushi. If they do that, like, this pay per view is sick. Sick. CMC is incredible, and he's perfect for the Shanahan offense. He's such a huge weapon for them. You just don't know if he can make it to 17 games. That's really it. But like, he's such a freak. Yeah, Najee, man, it's looking a lot like Zeke Pollard, where Warren is Pollard and Najee is Zeke, and it's pretty clear at this point that Warren is better than Najee. It's just the explosion, man. Like, a running back can't make it without speed. Not in today's league. Linebackers are way too fast. Even defensive ends. I mean, Micah runs a 4.3. Like, you're not going to be able to get around the edge and anything. Like, you just can't. You have to have speed. I think it's one of the number one attributes a running back must have is speed. If they have 12 pay-per-view or 12 max events, might help with quick booking of matches. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's almost like they're running the business model of what they want it to be, but it's not there yet. So it's like, because I mean, I do think it's tough too to ask people to buy all in, buy all out, buy Wrestle Dream. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot especially during these times, right? So like, I don't know. There's things that are going on in AEW that I don't agree with, but I'm not one of those that's like, I'm just gonna quit watching. Blah blah blah. Like, no, it's nothing like that. It's like, guys, might want to reconsider this, or that doesn't really make sense. Why would you do that? You know? It would make sense that Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. would be the main event. I think that would definitely make sense. Curious what MJF would do. Is Adam Cole going to be on this card at all? Don't know. Oh, what are my favorite 90s movies? Good God, Kogan. I don't know. I just have a lot. And they're what definitely would call bad, but I don't care. Like, I love Best of the Best, love Tango and Cash, love Hard to Kill, love Under Siege, Cliffhanger. You know, as a kid, like Three Ninjas, Mighty Ducks, Little Giants. There's so many. Like, I like The Rock. The Michael Bay, like Con Air type. Bad Boys, love Bad Boys. Man, there's just a lot. Karate Kid 3, what's up? Yeah, you're definitely Super Bowl contenders for sure. I mean, you guys have been like for what, 5 years now? I'm not sweating the Eagles as Dak usually has their number. Miami and San Fran are the games I'm looking at to really test Dallas. Yeah, and I just love the fact that we're gonna get to play them. We're gonna get to play them, so we're gonna know where we're at. Um, I I I feel good. I feel good. You know, and everybody wants to talk about the Eagles. I mean, Dak's 8-3 against the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not too concerned about the Eagles. Let's see here. Yeah, AEW on the beach like WCW would be cool. Yeah, I agree with that. Remember Sturgis too? Road Wild or Hog Wild, whatever it was. That was fun. But yeah, special like themed type events would be kind of cool. Hey Doug, when it comes to war movies, which time period has the best movies? War movies are tough. I mean, you've got like Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, Platoon, Casualties of War. And then there was like, you know, your Black Hawk Downs, We Were Soldiers. Courage Under Fire. It's not a war movie, but like one of my all-time favorite movies. This is one Kogan, Few Good Men. Like I love A Few Good Men. I could watch that movie over and over and over and over again. I love that movie. So good. I usually end up liking court movies a lot. There's something about it as how the plot thickens and things get unveiled and stuff like that. Like Primal Fear is dope. Yeah. Incredible Jake wants to join the show. If you're on Twitter, just send me a message or I can DM you. Let me know. And anybody else want to be on the show, let me know. I'll send you an invite. Just make sure that you have a mic and a cam that you can be on. Frankie, you always wanted to be on the show. You have something going on that you can be on the show? We can talk Eagles, Cowboys if you want. See, I kind of think you're right, man. I kind of think Rodgers is washed up. I think that was just a sign to show that his body is broken and that he just can't take the hits like he used to. And I think that he's going to come back and all, and he's going to get injured again. Like it's his body telling him it's over. Chris with another super chat. Thank you so much. One thing AEW should look at when it comes to ticket sales is try not to run towns where WWE has a show scheduled within the same month or so. Yeah, and see the problem with that is like I feel like that Endeavor is going to like tag team, right? So it's like they're gonna, you know, take something here and then UFC will take something here, and like it'll be, you know, oh, AEW's gonna run that area. Okay, then we'll do a UFC there, we'll do a WWE event there or whatever. I think it could get ugly like that. Not a fan of the new OC, huh? Yeah, it's tough because I don't know how much of that also is like what the network wants, you know, because they are a victim of that as well. I think the whole ROH experiment is just pointless. I really do. The belts, all that stuff is just nonsense. Like, I just think you buy the archives, you use them for storylines, you have the footage, but like to continue it on and with the titles and everything, I mean, it's like there's like 16 titles. It's too much. And then they're integrating it again with AEW, and it shouldn't be that way. Like you need to just move on. Thing about the Bengals is like if Joe is really hurt and like he can't get back to being normal, like they're just screwed. Like that's the problem. Like they don't have the ability to bench him and then win like 3-4 games and then he can come back. You know what I mean? Like I think they rushed him and now they're gonna pay for it. You know what I mean? Keith Lee has a angle with Shane Taylor. When did that happen? Was that on Collision? Nice. Grand slam tomorrow for Ace King. That's sick. Enjoy that, man. That is sick. Yeah, I don't know if Mercedes or Edge will show up, but you know Soraya showed up last year, so anything's possible. Yeah. I also think too, though, like part of it is there isn't so much fresh new matchups, right? There isn't so much new things to look forward to. A lot of stuff has been done at this point. And it's like just having Kenny and Brian when Brian first came in with the company was like lightning in a bottle. Like it was so much momentum and everyone was so hyped, and Punk had just came in, Adam Cole had just came in. Like that was a different time. That was where they were at peak potential since their existence. But I really feel like they didn't take advantage of it like they should have. But I also think, you had a really like injured Kenny Omega. And you had issues there. So like it wasn't going to work out anyway. So, but yeah, hindsight's 2020. I'm sure he's tried. I would think that Tony's definitely tried to advertise AEW at Jags games. Sorry. Yeah, Justin Fields is looking rough. He's looking rough, and if he's not going to run anymore either, then that's going to be really bad. Really bad. Street Fighter, yes. Mortal Kombat, yes. Lethal Weapons, yes. All that. Love all that. Yeah, Power Rangers. I went and saw that, and I wasn't even a biggest Power Ranger fan, but I was like, yeah, they actually have a movie. All right, I'll go check it out. Ivan Ooze, and all the parents were like zombified by the ooze. Good stuff. Rush Hour 1, Police Story 3, yes. Dead Presidents. I mean, there's a lot of good movies back then. Love Face Off. Face Off's great. Ninja Turtles 1. I was just at the Turtle convention. I met April O'Neil, which is Judith Hogue, and I met Ernie Reyes Jr., of course. Also met Ken Scott, who was Raphael, and he was also in a movie called Showdown, which is badass. And I told him that, and he gave me this for free. He signed this for me, and on the Showdown poster, 8x10, pretty sick. Billy Blank's movie. It's kind of a poor man's Karate Kid, has Christine Taylor in it as well. But yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. But he was a super nice guy too. And then, I talked to the voice of Michelangelo for a while. Brian Tachi, who is like in Police Academy and Revenge of the Nerds, and he was the voice of Leonardo. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Man, Michael Bay did Bad Boys, and Bad Boys is amazing. Love Bad Boys. Yeah, I mean, so many 90, like especially Van Damme, right? Like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Double Impact, Hard Target, Universal Soldier. Universal Soldier is so badass. Like I love Van Damme. Like Van Damme movies are amazing. I don't want to say they're like Oscar worthy or anything. Like let's not get crazy. I love that style, that genre. Even like Time Cop. Like I don't care. I'll watch all of it. It's great. Terminator 2, Pulp Fiction, yeah. Demolition Man, fantastic. Three Musketeers, really good one. Very underrated. This is a damn good movie. Goodfellas and Casino. Boys in the Hood is another one. Yeah, Boys in the Hood, great. Juice is amazing. Poetic Justice. God, I love the 90s. From Dusk Till Dawn and Desperado, yes. Salma Hayek is a lovely woman. Fools Rush In, it's a good one. Speaking of Terminator 2, are you guys looking forward to the movie Creator? It's coming out in a couple weeks. It looks like a legit sci-fi movie about AI and all that. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to go to the theater to see it, but I'm definitely going to watch it. Did anybody see Blue Beetle? How was that? Just another superhero movie. I don't know if it was the 60s or not, but like The Great Escape is one of my favorite movies. Even when I was a kid, like I was like 8 years old and I was watching Great Escape. I thought Steve McQueen was like badass. Stole that motorcycle. Just a plot to get out of there. It was easy to follow. I don't know. Beverly Hills Cop. Even 3. I don't care. Wonder World and all that stuff. It's awesome. Another 48 hours. Fan of those. Yes. Let's see here. Yes, big fan. Batman 89 is sick with Keaton. Random question. I went to a restaurant that had complimentary mouthwash in the bathroom. Is that a thing anywhere else? I've never seen that before. So you're on your own there, man. Right on. Warhawk Rambo's been fishing out in New Jersey. Sounds good. We really need Kenny versus MJF to happen. I feel like that's a big money match AEW can do, and they need to do it ASAP with Kenny getting older. Yeah, I'm surprised that one hasn't happened because MJF has literally faced like everyone on the roster So that one's a big one they need to do. I like Cobra, but there's some things that I like. I think the villain's kind of cheesy. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. Over the Top is sick though. I like Over the Top. I love the Bad Boy movies. 2 was my favorite, but 3 was such a letdown. It was okay at best. Like 3 was okay. I just thought the whole plot of like Mike having a secret kid with a woman that is not that attractive, because like Mike Lowry was getting like, top shelf stuff, and that chick just was not it. So it was kind of not believable. And then like his kid's the bad guy, and yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit of a reach, but I still had a good time. Batman Returns is good. I just like to forget the next 2 exist. Dude, Batman Forever had the most marketing I think I've ever seen for a movie. And I was so hyped for it. Like, it was all colorful, and like Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face, and like Jim Carrey was the Riddler, and like like QVC, Home Shopping Network, everyone was hyping this thing up. McDonald's had glass cups. There was just so much. Like, this movie felt like it was going to be the biggest movie of all time. And I remember when I saw it, like I liked it, but I was still kind of like, I don't know. I guess like it's not really what I thought it was going to be. But then you try to convince yourself that you love it. Kind of a lot like Phantom Menace or Star Wars. It's a lot like that, in my opinion. Yeah, Critical Drinker is a very reliable source. So, but I do think that some of those guys, like, they're so jaded at this point that they can't like they do like things, but I think they're a little harsh on things. Like, I've heard some of their stuff that they've thought about Ahsoka, and like it's been pretty solid. Like, it's not terrible. There's been some good stuff. The last 3 episodes have been pretty fun. Like, it's not peak Star Wars or anything like that, but it's the best Star Wars we've seen in a while. So I'll take it. I think TK needs to really get some people that he can trust to run some other parts of AEW, because Tony really needs to step back and just be a boss after the CM Punk crap happened to him. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what he's done. Like, Jimmy Jacobs is like his right hand man, I guess, like follows him around, and he lives out in Florida with him. So, I mean, there's that. Also, it seems like, Brian Danielson's a huge part of this, and Collision and things like that. I do think he definitely, um, delegates other places, but I do think that he has his hands in everything. And so I understand what you're saying. And I mean, look, like, this is the thing about a new company, is you're just going to take the growing pains. Like, that's what's going to be. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to do some stupid things. But at the same time, you get like a card like Wrestle Dream. Like, if you're getting Brian Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr., Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page, Aussie Open versus FTR2, and Kota Ibushi versus Takeshita, like, this guy, thank you. Like, at the end of the day, like, why are we nitpicking all these things when we're still getting like some really incredible stuff? Yeah, that's one thing about me. I love movies, right? I am not a horror fan at all. Like, I barely watch any of them. I just don't like them. I don't like them. And I watched them in the 90s, like when I was a teenager. Watched Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Haunted Mansion, The Haunting, like whatever else came out back then. But like The Ring. But I just don't like them. Like, I don't find them entertaining, and I don't like to like pay to be scared. So I'm just not a fan. Favorite N64 game? I mean, the game that everybody played the hell out of was GoldenEye, Mario Kart. Definitely WCW, NWO Revenge, WrestleMania, No Mercy, Donkey Kong, something like that. I like the Scream franchise overall. Definitely, I watched all of them. I saw some Halloweens that are all right. Like, they're okay movies. I just don't really like them. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm just not a fan. No, I'm not a big fishing guy. I'm honestly not a big outdoors person. I'm pretty much, I'll lock myself in my office for 10 hours and just work on stuff on my computer and stuff. Like, I'm not a big outdoors guy. But I don't hate on it. Like, good for you, man. It's good to get out there and get some fresh air. Where was I on 9/11? My dad woke me up and I was told that, you know, um the plane hit the Twin Towers and that they were gone. And my dad was one of those that like listened to Rush Limbaugh all night and stuff. And he would tell me that, like, missiles are pointed at us and they could take us out any minute and all this sometimes. Like, not a lot, but every now and then when he really would watch that crap all day, he'd get real paranoid and scared and stuff, and then come and tell me that like bad things could happen. He's like, son, if gas ever gets to $5 a gallon, it's over, son. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, so when he told me, I kind of just took it. I was like, okay, whatever. But then I turned the TV on and I actually saw it, and it was just like, wow. And I had to go to work at Hollywood Video, and I went to Hollywood Video for work, and like it was such a paranoid, scared time. Like, everybody, like, gas price, these people would started price gouging gas and making it like $10 a gallon, and there were lines out the wazoo to get gas, and people were panicking. And like, I was getting mad at every single person that would come into the store, because I'm just like, why are you here to rent a video? Like, we just got attacked. Like, what are you doing? But yeah. And I remember listening to Linkin Park on the way to work, hearing In the End, and just kind of feeling like the world was coming to an end that day. Yeah, Rambo. Like, to me, I mean, Stallone's my goat. So like anything Stallone, I'm all about. Given how mixed Star Wars has been lately, what direction would you like to see the franchise go in? So here's the thing with Star Wars. Can it really continue without the Skywalker saga being involved? Like, can they come up with meaningful storylines that have people interested, that feels like Star Wars and makes it work, right? And one of the biggest flaws that they've done to Star Wars is they've tried to modern day it. And George Lucas said that like the politics in this galaxy have nothing to do with modern times here. So it sticks out like a sore thumb, right? And so it's like they forgot the feeling of Star Wars and what Star Wars actually represents. And a lot of it, like, the Force is spirituality, right? And like that's the last thing that like a woke crowd wants to talk about, is spirituality. And you have a bunch of woke people running Lucasfilm right now. So that's always going to be a contradiction in Star Wars. So, but like tonight's episode was pretty dope. You know, we finally got to see Thrawn, and you got to there were times where things just felt like Star Wars, right? Like there's some cool stuff. It's a cool show. It has some serious potential, and it gives me somewhat hope in the future. But then when you read about stuff that's happening in the Acolyte and how god awful that show's going to be, it's going to take this thing 10 steps back. So every time it's one step forward, it's 10 steps back. I mean, there's some reports that like Star Wars is down 65% in merchandise sales. 65%. That's crazy. That means you've lost more than half your audience. Twins is dope. Junior is stupid. And I love Arnold, but I can't do it. GoldenEye is a cool movie. Sandlight's fantastic. Rookie of the Year too. Used to love Rookie of the Year. Those worked for me. Definitely Shannon Elizabeth. I had a thing for Elizabeth Shue, man. God, I used to think she was so hot from back from Cocktail days. Woo! Cocktail, Karate Kid. What other 90s? I mean, like Pamela Anderson, Jenny McCarthy, Tyra Banks. I mean, honestly, back then, I wasn't very picky. Kathy Ireland, you know, Cindy Crawford. Yeah, all day. Blood in, blood out. That's a good one. Stand by Me is fantastic. Yeah, I love Terminator 2. Freaking awesome movie. And it's kind of creepy how we're heading that direction, and like nobody's like the thing that scares me the most about like AI and robots and all this other stuff is like we already have so many people that are completely heartless that could care less about human life that is control of this country. Like they're going to be the ones that are going to make decisions on what happens with this stuff. Like you really trust them? You really think that we're in good hands with this nonsense? Like it's absolutely frightening to me. And I feel like that they're so stupid that they can make a decision and then just be like, "Oh, wow, I didn't see this coming." Like, whoa, you know? Mikhail. Okay. So I haven't talked about anything about me and SRS going at it. I will say this though. It's kind of unfair to Steven if I went in on SRS and I really like said how I feel about this whole situation, because at the end of the day, like Steven is choosing to come on to this show, even though he knows that SRS doesn't like the idea of him being on this show. So I just want to be able to say that like Steven deserves props, and I don't want to make problems worse for him at Fightful, because at the end of the day, like it's a good job for him, and he, you know, who doesn't want to work inside like the wrestling business and make that a nice side hustle? So all I'll say is I felt like things got way out of context with what I said. And I just feel like that the UFC is not, it's like Sean Strickland said, it's the last representation of America where there really is freedom of speech, where people really are allowed to say what they want to say. And I'll say this too, like I think that Should certain things be said? No. But if we're going down the road of determining what can be said and what can be said and what can't be said, it's a slippery slope, and it's kind of gotten us to where we are now. And I would much rather have it where people can say and do what they want and then face the consequences based on that. Like, not, and I don't mean consequences as in cancellations or that. I mean, like, if you call somebody that, you got to fight them in the cage. You've got to go out on your shield, and you've got to face the music of what you said. You have to pay for that. So at the end of the day, like, I appreciate the UFC for being as real and as genuine in a world where it's just not allowed. It's the last dying breed, and it will not last forever. The moment that Dana is gone, this thing is a wrap. Like, they will bow down to public pressure. But as long as Dana is there, and that's the funny thing too, right? Is you have stuff like that being said in the UFC, and it's on ESPN. It's on a Disney-owned network. And they don't have a problem with it. They don't even put out a press release. They don't say anything about it. They just act like it never happened. They just act like Dana just slapped his wife and nothing, there's no issues, because they're full of crap. They really don't care. They really don't. They're there to up their social credit score, right? But at the end of the day, like, they don't care. They're fake. He had a Batman Forever poster in his room for the longest time. It was right next to the Matumbo poster, peak 90s room. Ha ha ha. You know what, the one like poster to me that is like peak 90s is like the one with Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, and Macaulay Culkin. Like, that to me is like, that's so 90s. Would I fist bump TK? Sure. I got nothing to love for TK. I give TK one of those big old bear hugs that he loves to give them. You the man, TK. Thank you for everything, bro. Let's see what else. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for James Woods too, man. I feel so bad for that guy because of his political opinion. He basically got kicked out of Hollywood, and he's a legend. Um, it sucks. It sucks how everything only goes one side. It's just not fair. And everybody else on the other side can say whatever they want about their political opinion, how much they hate so and so and all this other stuff, and he can't say anything. It's like, what kind of organization, company, whatever, like, you're literally only allowed to think one way. It's just crazy to me. Listen, only he knows what he can handle. And, like I said, I don't think that he's just doing everything and like the other guys are just here or there. Like, I think that he definitely is getting help. Hollywood Video is the GOAT. Man, I had the whole thing, dude. I had the tuxedo with the little bow tie and all that. And then they finally changed it to like a purple long sleeve shirt. I was so happy. I got that job when I was 16. I had that job from like 16 to 20. Rented 3 movies a night. and then got to get the new movies the week before, because we would get them early and then you'd be able to check them out, and then they just had to be back by Monday before they came out on Tuesday. So that was really cool. As a kid that was like 16, 17, 18, to be able to get all the movies was the best. Doug, did you enjoy episode 1, 2, 3 films? Like Star Wars prequels? If so, yes. I liked all the prequels. Oh, I mean, the writers are trash. Trash. I hate so many people in Lucasfilm. They're disgusting people. Pablo Hidalgo, get out of here. I think that's his name. But yeah, like all those people that wrote all those like New Republic stories and all this, such garbage, dude. You had no idea what Star Wars is. Yeah, I'm cool with mob movies. Angels in the Outfield was fire. It's sad that can't get a digital release. I mean, trust me, I find ways to get whatever I need, but it would be cool if it did. But is it because it's like spiritual, or is it because the thing with the A's, like the licensing of it or something? I feel it's a little bit of both. Yes, and Living Color was great. That's where I realized Jamie Foxx was like, wow, he could do anything. Tommy Davison, David Allen Greer, Jim Carrey, J-Lo's a dancer on that. Fly Girl, right? Yeah. Yeah, Bloodsport's fantastic. Double Impact is really good. I love that movie. Let's just say that we've tried. We've tried. Warhawk Rambo, you speak the truth, Doug. As a social conservative, I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, I have a very hard time just sitting back and not saying how I feel. It just doesn't feel right. And like, even though it could hurt people around me, it could hurt myself, it could affect me, I just have a hard time muzzling myself. Especially when things are going on that are so wrong. And it's like, if nobody's willing to speak up about it, then like this stuff just keeps continuing. It's like at some point, somebody's got to put their foot down and say, like, no more, you know? I think ultimately, no one should say the N word, the R word, the F word. We've been better than that. I won't stop watching UFC, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's like I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is it's like at this point, just like you said, it is what it is. Like we know what it is now. Like to cover this sport, to make a living on this sport, and to be extremely upset or outraged every time someone says something offensive. Like how many times, like every time, like Dana's last, like, how do you feel that this racial word was used towards this person? And he's like, I don't care. I don't care. These guys are going to fight. How do you feel that this was done? I don't care. I don't care. Like that's the message. He doesn't care. He's going to let them say what they want to say. I understand why, but I also can understand why it is not for everyone's cup of tea. But I just think that if you're going to sign up and watch this sport, know what you're signing up for. I haven't played the new Mortal Kombat. I saw they had a Jean-Claude Van Damme skin. That's pretty sick. How is it? I started to watch it. First of all, that show is so gory, like way over the top gore. It's kind of hard to watch. I watched the first season. I think I even watched the second season, but I couldn't get past it after that. It's not enjoyable enough for me to keep watching. Like it's too gruesome and it's too like over the top gore. And I just lost interest. Yeah, if it's Star Wars, yeah, I definitely like episodes 1, 2, and 3. Only did it twice, but if the game was scratched, I would rent the game at Hollywood or Blockbuster and swap it out with a fresh disc. You bad, man. No, I was kidding. Yeah, like personally, I think if they got some of like the anti-woke people, and even like Star Wars Theory, he's not so anti-woke, and neither is Josh Den of Nerds, but like, your nerdrotics, critical drinkers, geeks and gamers, all that. Like, if they approved a lot of this stuff, like it would send so much of a positive message towards Star Wars in general. And then people will be like, oh, like it's legit then. Like, oh, if they got their approval, then okay. Because then they know that it's just strictly about the story and it's not going to be about, diversity quotas and everything else that they try to put in Star Wars. Women's supremacy. Get out of here. Married with children could never happen in 2023. Russell Brand, did he fly too close to the sun? I don't know, man. I was listening to some of the stuff that Candace Owens was saying, and she was saying some stuff that's kind of makes him sound guilty. Like it's like they had a back and forth message between him and this girl, and he apologized for everything that he did, and he just like it said he was sorry and that she didn't deserve what he did, and then she was like telling him that no means no and all this stuff. So like it doesn't sound good, but I mean he's definitely been hitting above the target too. So like it's no surprise that they would want to take him out. But I mean, if he's guilty, he's guilty. It is what it is. But it's kind of crazy that all of a sudden this comes up. Like he's gotten his life completely straight. He's gone into therapy and he was a drug addict and all sorts of stuff. So he did a lot of bad things in his past, but like, he's married now. He has a third child on the way. Like he's really straightened his life up. So it's kind of sad that this is coming out now. Yeah, Kevin Nash has been killing it on Punk and on LA Knight. All right, guys, this is the last question. If you guys have anything else, send them in. Let me know. Otherwise, I'll bounce. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry it wasn't as eventful as I wanted it to be. I was hoping some people wanted to come in, but, I understand not everybody's built to be on camera and all that jazz. Also, it was like kind of last minute. It's kind of been a hectic week. I'm just glad that we're able to get it done. So I definitely appreciate you all for tuning in. What do you think of Tomlin as a head coach? It feels frustrating as a Steelers fan how inconsistent they've been the past few years. So here's the thing. I think Tomlin's a great head coach. I think that Matt Canada is an awful OC. I think that it's one of those things where like when a coach has been there for so long, you just kind of have to just go in a different direction. Like it is what it is at this point. Like it's a lot like Andy Reid was with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like Andy Reid's an amazing coach, but like they looked awful. They looked awful, and it was just time to part ways. And he went to Kansas City and won Super Bowls, and it worked out for him. And Philly's been good, and Philly went to the Super Bowl. Like it won a Super Bowl. So like it worked out for them. And it just kind of feel like they're in that crossroads now where like the Steelers just kind of need to move on. It's not that he's a bad coach or anything like that. It's just the message gets old after a while. You kind of got, honestly, New England probably needs to start thinking about that as well. Like, let's just be honest. Like Bill Belichick, maybe it's just he doesn't have a quarterback, but like ever since Tom Brady, he's a 500 coach since Tom Brady left. And then, it just like look at Dan Quinn, right? Like they went to the Super Bowl and then everything fell apart. But like Dan Quinn's a damn good coach. He came to the Cowboys, completely changed everything for us on defense. And so it's like sometimes as coaches just need a fresh start. Teams need a fresh start. They need to hear new voices. So I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, like that's the thing too, is like Jericho clearly isn't about that woke life, right? So I mean, the fact that he would be on Critical Drinkers just tells you a lot. Crazy. All right, guys. Looks like that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me. We'll be looking to do this next week. I don't know if I'll have Steven next week, but I'll definitely have if I don't have Steven, then maybe I'll try to get a replacement or something, see how that works. But yeah, he's got a hectic work schedule, so it's just hard to get something scheduled, but it's only going to be for a couple of weeks. He has to do some crazy overtime stuff at his job. So for right now, I'll be trying to, fly solo. Maybe I'll do some individual videos or something just to get some buzz out for the channel, just get some more different eyeballs. We'll see. Real quick, got a Cowboys question here. Podcast Red Zone. Doug, how do you feel about Dallas? I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I really hope Dak can stay healthy and the defense just keeps playing rolling. I feel fantastic. I feel great. I love it. I used to get nervous for games, like just because you never knew what could happen. I'm not even nervous anymore. Like I just feel like we're gonna kick your ass. Like it's just gonna happen. You can't stop this. The defense is amazing. Like, where are you going to throw the ball? You going to throw to Diggs? You going to throw to Stephon Gilmore? You going to throw to Bland? You got Hooker in the back. You got Curse up front. Wait till Donovan Wilson comes in with the hits, the enforcer. Even like Marquise Bell can play some linebacker and lay the wood. Like and now it's like Ose is taking double teams and it's freeing up Micah. You got D-Law who's still fast and explosive and stopping the run and putting on pressure on the quarterback. I mean, things look great. And then I love the way Mike McCarthy called the game against the Jets. Like that's supposed to be a really good defense, and we picked them apart like crazy. And Dak now is like all about footwork and the 3-step drops, and the drops are the same as like what the routes the receivers are running, and they're on time. And like, I just think that everything's looking good. We don't have Zeke slowing us down in the run game anymore. This thing's built, man. They built it, and it took 3 years, really 4 really solid years to build this thing, but we're here, and super excited about it, man. Super excited. I can't bring somebody back that doesn't want to be involved. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I just do this because I'm the only one that wants to keep this thing going. Hey, if someone wants to give me more information on how to start a Discord, like we can look into it. Just hit me up in the DMs. All right, guys. Appreciate it. As always, can't thank you enough. Definitely have appreciated everybody tuning in, the super chats, the support. You guys keep me going, and I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy Grand Slam. Enjoy a damn good Collision, and even Rampage looks pretty solid. So good week of wrestling. So everyone have a good weekend, good week. Enjoy football as always, right? And talk to you guys next week. Take care.